and a good morning from Tallinn, Estonia. And welcome back to the Predator EPBF European Pool Championships. This is day 7, and we are currently about to start the loser qualification match in the 8-ball division between Dennis Grabe, the local, versus Mikael OEGAARD from Norway. In the commentary booth, Gethin Davies and myself, Tim de Ruyter, trying to explain all the shots for you. Good morning, Gethin.
Good morning, Tim, and thank you. Yes, it looks like Mikael has just won the lag, but I just wanted to point out that both Dennis and Mikael have come to the losers bracket losing on the hill. So they've both had tough matches, and let's see how Mikael breaks. But the point being made, they've all had a lot of breaks in this alternate format, so let's see how they've settled in.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And another thing I find very interesting, and I've seen this on both tables now, is that most of the breaks, like I see a lot of people struggle kind of with the break, even though there's not a break box involved. And the two balls tracking towards the side are actually tracking way too high. And they don't really seem to find the right thing yet. I think it's interesting. Usually the break is pretty easy. I see most of the time people make balls.
Yeah, I agree, Tim, and I think earlier on in the early stages of the 8-ball, they certainly were finding better cue ball and more balls on the break. I'm just wondering, as you alluded to, day 7 now, are the tables changing a little bit? Are they tightening up somewhat? What can happen over that period of time?
Well, usually it does, but I gotta say I feel like the tables are playing quite fresh, so I'm not sure if they are cleaning them maybe at the end of the day, or yeah, like I said, I'm not there, so it's not like I can check it out, but the tables, the pockets still seem to have a decent amount of slide, so they're still playing not sticky by any means. Yeah,
well, we were just greeted with a beautiful match on this TV table just now, the first match of the day, and one thing I will say is that both players were finding a ball on the break, and then it was all down to position of the cue ball. So Dennis finds himself at the table after the dry break from Michiel, and he's really making short work of these, as he normally does, the home favourite here in Tallinn.
Yeah, hasn't had the best results, I feel, this week. Did finish, I believe, 3rd in the straight pool division, but in the 10-ball, I don't think he came close to a medal. And I mean, with how well he's playing, I think I would favor him to have deep runs in any game.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. And I got to commentate on one of Dennis's matches in the team event, and Estonia were playing Team Serbia, and he was a little bit out of sorts. So I'm just wondering, playing so many disciplines, if he's got a little bit of fatigue, or I do know that he's probably going home to a comfortable bed each night rather than a hotel room. But yeah, it'll be just interesting. He's had a lot of TV table time, though, I will give him that.
Yeah, besides being the local favorite, he's also finished really high lately in top events. He won the Maldives Open. He finished 3rd in the World 10-ball Championship last year. Then now this year he won the Las Vegas Open. So I'm saying there's multiple reasons to have him on the stream table. This time he didn't make the balls go in the center, but 2 balls finding a way in the corner. And what do you see here, Gath?
Well, he's got a spread, and he's... Yeah, well, that stripe in the corner may help. The orange stripe up in the top left corner may help him make his decision. But there is a little difficult cluster of stripes down here on the bottom left as well, Tim. He's got a couple of things to contend with here. The first one being the choice of which way to go.
Well, I understand why he's going for that 13, but I'm not too sure what to do with the 10-14.
No, I'm not either, and as you said, Dennis is probably the favourite here, and yet quite rightly deserves the TV table time. And the reason I pointed it out, I was just wondering if that might make a difference for Mikhail. I don't believe I've seen him on the TV table yet this week, so that was a lovely bank shot.
Oh, I like this. The 10 off the 2 in the corner.
Very well spotted, Tim.
But no, he's just gonna take it clean, make the 11, open up the 10-14, or maybe even play the short side. No fancy carom. I just recently woke up, so my senses are off.
No, but it was a good spot, and it would have opened up the green stripe straight away, so a little ambitious.
Possibly, yes. Yeah, I mean, it has advantages, but if you can play the shape like he's about to do, then obviously you're not gonna play something I just mentioned for the viewers at home.
Well, I just noticed Dennis take a little walk around the corner up by the pink 4-ball there. Just having a look at that 8-ball, but from this camera angle it looks like the 8 passes. If it doesn't, he's got a little bit extra to think about, but it looks like it passes from here, Tim. We'll find out now. Yes. So, with a dry break from Mikhail, we've got Dennis looking at stealing a quick 2-0 lead, which in alternate break would be the best start possible and really put the pressure on Mikhail. Great 8-ball. Dennis Grabe looking to come off strong here, and this is sudden death. The winner from this goes to the last 64, if I'm correct, Tim. We're at that stage already.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, basically playing single elimination already, like you said. Still a long way to go.
I noticed a few comments in the chat rooms on our free live streams over the past few days, and people tuning in for the first time were wondering why they weren't using a rack for the balls. Well, the table is tapped, so the balls were very, very slightly, shavings of millimeters, and the balls sit perfectly tight together. The players are racking their own for alternate break. That will change during the latter stages when the referee will step in. So no rack in sight, or triangle as we say in the UK. Second dry break.
Yeah. Now he did leave more of a scrappy layout, but then still I would love to stay at the table, obviously.
Well, one thing I will say is that in the last 3 8-ball matches I've had the pleasure of commentating, I have not seen one safety played, which just goes to show not only how aggressive these guys are, but just how many times they were able to break and run. And so it does put the pressure on the opponent's break, and if you're going to keep scratching, then things might not go your way. However, Dennis Grabe has made a mistake.
Yeah, didn't really have an easy opening shot, but this might be just enough for OEGAARD to find some rhythm, to find some feeling for the table.
Yes, and Michael, representing Norway, I noticed there's a few other Norwegian players in this competition, and it'll be good to see how they fare well in the team event as well as both their individual disciplines. He's opened up that problem very well, Tim. I don't think he's out of the woods yet, though.
Well, that 9 ball is really tough to get to, and I don't believe it goes in any corner at the moment. If you would move the 11 out of the way, the 9 does go to the top right, but you still have to get on it. So, still quite the puzzle.
Yeah, and these players are playing under a shot clock, and they are allowed 1 extension per player per rack. So, just needs to be a bit careful not to take too long.
Okay, so has played for the 11 ball. Just gotta make sure he can kill the cue ball for the 14 in the center or the 13. But the 13 only is nice when you're on the top short rail, like to cut it in and stay away from the 7. I wouldn't want to leave myself angled to bump the 7 ball.
No, he avoided it, and he's opened up that corner pocket to the 9. Which, as you pointed out, he needed to do because there is no other pocket for that 9 ball.
I would love to get from the 13 to the 9. I'm just not sure if he has angle to do so.
No, he didn't, Tim. He was a bit flat, and he's forced the cue ball out for a tricky shot. Does the 3 get in the way? Is he going to start moving some balls here, Tim? That could be dangerous at this pivotal point.
Well, he could run into the 3 ball and be guaranteed on the 9, but if you look at the 8, it doesn't go in the bottom left, so then the shape to the 8 is a struggle.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's missed the 14. Uh-oh,
yeah, I think he listened to you, Tim.
Well, I have advice for him, Gavin.
Well, I think he, you know...
Don't listen.
Well, maybe he just took his eye off the pot there. I saw during the last match a couple of mistakes made where there was a requirement to need to move a few balls, and of course the few balls moved, but the eye was just taken off the pot, and that's one of the situations we find a little bit more in 8-ball than in other disciplines, due to the nature of the full rack of balls on the table. But yeah, you've got to make sure of that pot, Tim. I would dare say he's... Ooh, I was about to say he's left Dennis a great opportunity, but has Dennis made a little bit of trouble for himself there?
It's just fine. Well, one thing we should consider now we are running deeper and deeper into this event is that it's day 7 now. Shortly, some of the players are starting to struggle real bad because some of them, you know, they don't have a healthy eating pattern. They are playing video games or on the phone all the time. They don't get enough sleep. Some of them, they might, you know, some players, they might actually drink a lot of alcohol during the week, like just because they feel it's like kind of holiday too. Some of the lower ranked players, but I'm more saying like you gotta take care of yourself to have good results over a 10-day radius.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it there, Tim. This isn't just a one-day tournament. It's not a sprint. This is a marathon. And one thing I have noticed is that with the younger players coming through, that is just as much as part of their regime and their training schedule as is the actual practice and playing of pool. And you're starting to see that becoming more and more important in these large events. You mentioned Dennis over in Vegas. That event went on for a good few days as well, and you can imagine the temptation in Vegas to not necessarily look after yourself so well is there. Oh, look at that 15, Tim.
Yeah, what to do? 15 does still go to the bottom right, but I mean...
I had a very interesting situation yesterday in that exact pocket off the break.
Yeah, with the fifth, I think it was 15 as well in that same corner.
I think it was, yes, Tim. Was it you and I?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. And they were absolutely locked down in there, and each player played a shot in that situation where they literally tapped the tip on the cue ball. Both legal shots. But yeah, a little bit easier for Dennis here, and he's played a containing safety, probably the first that I've seen in a good few matches, so just goes to show how much of a difficult spot he was in. Now, is he eyeing up that long 3, Tim? He did give it a little wink, I'm sure.
I mean, you kind of have to go. And if the 3 ball is the only ball you can shoot, then you have to shoot it. But realize also that if you fail to make the 3 ball, you probably gift the whole rack, because it's an open game. It's an open rack here.
I was just about to say, does the 9 slide through a gap into the middle bag with him having the cue ball there? But from that camera angle, it shows the 2 is in the way, so a little bit forced into this shot, perhaps.
Okay, good shot. Still, if you look at the 1 ball, is kind of tricky. Would have liked to go with stripes, obviously, but well, didn't really have a stripe, so a little bit of work to do. But as I mentioned, he's pretty much in the open, as there's 3 balls in the top corner. He's now just trying to get rid of the 7, go to the center of the table, possibly go towards the 2 ball straight away, and try to develop the 1.
Yeah, I was just having a little inspection of that 1. I'm just wondering, can he stun run through the 2 on a straight direction and be able to pot the 1 in the opposite corner, or is the 9 hampering both pockets? I'll have a look at that a bit closer in a moment.
Well, that I don't think so. I was thinking about getting to the right side of the 5, of the right side of the 5, and then bump the 1 ball over to the short rail. He's playing the other side. Okay, well, just gotta make sure he's high enough.
Yeah. When you say high enough, you mean our side of the 2 ball, so he can get something moving towards the 1-9?
Yeah, high enough meaning to the bottom side of the 2 ball.
Yeah.
That could have been confusing. I get what you're saying. Now, I like to run with a little bit more pace in between the 1 and the 9. Just play the pace to where if you do not get something on the 1, you always have the 4.
Oh, nice.
Okay, played it soft. Softer than I was expecting. I was doubting if he was gonna hit the right side a little bit more, then you might push it to the rail and not have the cut. But he was fine. Oh, doesn't want to be on the rail.
No, he's probably come a little bit further than he wanted to there, Tim. Maybe a bit of adrenaline in the arm. But you fancy him making this 4? I'm not too sure what we fancy the position will be after.
Oh, wow.
Well, Tim, he hit the right side of the 10. It brought the cue ball out this way to ensure he had position on the 8. However, the 10 wasn't finished with him. This is really not the position he wanted to find himself in either. Wow. Dennis unexpectedly back at the table here, and he's 3-0 up, and this could be very ominous if Dennis is able to take advantage of this opportunity. I remember you and I distinctly having a conversation yesterday about the magic 4-game difference with this alternate break format, and Dennis has got the cue ball in the middle of the table and he can take his pick here.
Yeah, I gotta say, I might go with the 14 and try to play myself still straight on the 10. Should have been straight on the 10 actually, but it's fine. Now just go forward to the short rail, move over with the 9, or stay high. I mean, don't think it matters, but I like to be above the 9. And then directly over to the 8 for nothing coming.
A little bounce off this cushion would help. Very well played. And Dennis Grabe takes a 4-0 lead against this match with Norway's Michiel OEGAARD. And if you just look in the background there around our beautiful Kalevi arena, the star-studded arena, you can see our other TB table in the background. We have 28 Predator Arc tables fresh in the arena, and they have been playing great so far all week. And as Tim alluded to, we're on day 7, over the halfway point, and you find us in the losers qualification, race to 8 ball, and Michiel would be looking for a big break here. Let's see what we've got. That was a great cue ball, but nothing went.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, ball's tracking too high again.
Would that indicate too hard? I'm trying to remember from the books I used to read.
I mean, it's multiple things, because I've seen people break the balls with a flat cue to where the cue ball does not hop, and break them, I believe, quite firm, and still make the balls in the side, compared to if the ball does make that big Shane Van Boning hop, kinda. So it's not just the pace, it's also the way how you land on top of it. If you think about it, if you break with more elevation, the cue ball also partially hits the front ball.
Yeah.
So basically, if you do have that hop, you can break them more firm. If you just play with the flat cue, then probably have to break a little softer, because it transfers more impact. So that's where it's not just saying you have to break softer.
There's far many more variables.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always has been like that with pool. It's not just like, oh, just aim a little thicker. No, it's like, well, there is spin that transfers on the ball, and there's always more to it, you know.
Absolutely. I remember having to wrap my head around throw and the concept of throw, and it did change my game. But for the player new to the sport, or from many amateurs, it's a concept that it's very difficult to get the grasp of. And Dennis played a really good cut down this long rail very early into this run, which made the difference. And I think I think he's got something from this 3. Can he come round the back of the 8, or can he stun up?
I don't think anything wrong could happen on this. Could leave the 8 for the bottom right as well if he catches that ball.
Oh, he was
He
able
even
to
found the window, so...
Wow.
5-0.
Tim, it's not looking good for the Norwegian. And with Dennis at the table to break, you've got to feel that his chances are slipping away here. And I'm not sure what he can realistically do to turn this around. He's going to start needing help from his opponent, I believe.
Well, that's the thing why all my alarm bells are all the time ringing when I get like down 3-4 racks, is because now you are just hoping for your opponent to start failing, which, I mean, you can just not do that.
No, you can't. And when you did mention that to me the first time, it's played on my mind ever since, and it's guaranteed to all accounts. So let's hope that on this occasion, for Mikhail's perspective, we're wrong. But Dennis, with his power, has got one off the break.
Well, not just one. Made 3 balls on the break. And honestly, it's actually a scrappy layout for making 3 balls on the break.
Yeah, and he's decided to go stripes. Is that a natural combination for the 9? Maybe not from that angle.
Well, he was looking at playing the combination, so he's straight on the 13. He can place himself perfectly to where he doesn't have to cut the ball. You just want to avoid cutting the ball precisely into the combination, you know, just want to basically have a quite full hit. The 12 is near as well, so he has the 14 or the 12 to land on. One good shot and we're 6-0.
If he has to play the green stripe across this, is it going to go towards the 4? It did, and it hit the 4.
I think, yeah, the 12 is still on. Slightly tougher to get on that 14, but as you see, he's not trying to get straight on the 14. He's just trying to have a cut, and he'll travel the cue ball more to the 8. Yeah, that's it. Good choice. That's probably where I would make a wrong mistake. I would probably have played that with inside, trying to get straight. Perfect.
Yeah.
Break a run.
And the sort of pressure relieving from Dennis, if there ever was some. 5-0 is a tough mountain to climb. However, I don't expect that to dampen Mikhail's spirits. I look forward to a big break from him now. But I think Dennis is sitting in his chair, quietly confident with himself and happy with the performance so far. 6-0. Mikhail to break.
Well, maybe just slightly more elevation, you know, would do the trick for him. You see, that's it. Now that cue ball actually did have that slight hop. And then the same speed was right. I don't feel like he broke the balls softer. It just landed different on the front ball.
It was a good view from the camera angle of his playing arm there. He did look elevated.
Yeah, look at this layout too. This is a must run out basically. It's open. And if he wants to make something happen this match, he needs to run out. So 14, 12, 14, 15. Use the 13 to get to the bottom. The only thing I see that could go wrong is if he leaves himself not straight on the 9 or no angle towards the left long rail to where he has to bump the 11 at the end. But if you know that, if you recognize that, don't really think things can go wrong here.
No. He just needs to make sure, because as you quite rightly said, it's a must-win at this stage. Yeah. Well, you pointed out what could be changed with the break, and it seems to be working, whatever change he's made. But I did see the cue ball significantly raise off the bed and bounce, and with the spin it stopped lovely again. But you pointed out that the ball in the middle pocket is what he's looking for.
Well, did you know you can actually hear the difference too? And not because of the cue ball landing on the table. I'm more saying when they strike the rack, you can hear the difference if someone made that pop on the break or if it was just a flat cue ball.
Wow. Well, no, that's not I'll be honest, that's not something I've actually taken note of, but it's something that I'm fully aware of now. I break too slow, Tim, to even worry about getting the cue ball off the table.
There is no sound when you break the balls. Dennis has been hitting the break super sweet. 3 balls in. Wow, look at this spread.
Yeah.
Listen, all the solids are on top and all the stripes are in the bottom. It's like, you pick. Which one do you like?
Yeah, good spot. They have indeed. From this, it looks like he's certainly stuck a number of solids down, which will make his job a little bit easier with regards to the number of pots he's got to make here. He's going to take this one into the center.
This way, he also has so many options. 6-1. Use the 3 to go 1 reel to the 8. I mean, unless he takes his eye off the ball, I mean, there won't be any way how I can doom think him on this.
No.
Like, it lays natural.
And from the previous camera angle, it looks like that 8 ball will go in any pocket. There's nothing causing it a problem. So, yeah.
Well, kind of destroying. Is destroying OEGAARD's hopes here. I mean,
yeah, yeah, and good signs for the rest of Dennis's tournament if he can keep breaking like that, because that was really impressive. And I mean, okay, a bit fortunate with the way the balls landed with the solids at the top and the stripes at the bottom, but 3 off the break. Oof. Well, that brought Dennis to the hill, Tim. This is a little bit desperate times now for Michiel.
yeah, now he finally has it. I mean, just the sucky part is it just wasn't there in the beginning of the match.
No. And he finds himself in the same position you pointed out to him in the last rack. Except if he doesn't do the business this time, it will be his last time. So Yeah. No real big problems with the 2 stripes around the 8. It will give him something to think about, but there certainly does look like a few ways around that problem. So he's just tidying up the solids at the top end of the table. This will be good for him as well, Tim. Letting his arm out a little bit.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, whenever you're down like this, you can just play freely. You know, you don't really have to play super tight or be careful. You know, just let the arm go and hopefully make something happen.
We might see the arm go a little bit here if he wants to put deep screw in this. Otherwise, can he slide down the left-hand side of the 8-ball as we're looking at it?
Well, he's playing this to the corner, trying to be straight on the 4.
Good call.
I mean,
Tim.
if you think about it, Gethin, I mean, he has only, I believe he only missed 1 opportunity.
Yeah, and I think the real difference was his earlier breaks.
Yes, I think it's always nice to point that out, because people at home, they might just only look at the scores and go, well, he must have played bad, or Dennis must have played really well. Michael had no chance. But I mean, if you think about it, it was just mainly the break. It was not like he has missed balls all over, couldn't make a ball, oh, he sucks, you know, not that kind of style. Like we all miss one mistake at times. And
yeah, and I think in the scheme of things, Dennis has probably made just as many mistakes. So it's you're correct to point that out. And it's very unfortunate when the scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect the player's performance, but that is the nature of pool, and it can be a very cruel mistress. And I'm afraid in this position, Tim, our Norwegian player is going to have to leave it to Dennis, who has this break on the hill with a very comfortable lead. But I can't imagine Dennis will want to be at this TV table much longer. I'm sure he will want to close it out at this visit. And this will be playing on his mind when he makes this break. Let's see how he fares.
oh, this time,
Ooh.
oh, the 14 finds the hole. Actually, the 2 balls tracking to the side, they stood up this time. But yeah, I mean, he's made 1 again.
It's 1 on a bad break and 3 on a good break.
Yeah, but that's what's happening at the moment. If he gets on the 6, yeah, it's just the 7 ball still needs some work. Doesn't go to any corner yet, but when you use the 5 to get to the 4, you can play over the short rail to the 7. Might like to go for the 3 in the bottom right after this. I feel the 3 is a little bit of an odd ball, so it would be nice to nick that one out. Get the 3 in, 3, 5, 4, 7, 8.
Yep, that seems a good pattern to me. Useful to point out that in this losers qualification winning, but we also still have Alex Montpellier in there and Mario Hay. There's some big names in there in the losers qualification, so good matches all out there today.
Yeah, just so I can get the word out before this match finishes. I'm guessing it will be over soon. Our next match is at 12:30 local time. Those are last 64 matches, so it could be that the loser qualification matches will, make that schedule go wrong a little bit. So we could be a little bit later. That's a possibility. So Dennis Grabe advances to the last 16.